No DQ Galaxy, we are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw for Monday, June 24th, 2024, as we get closer to the WWE Money in the Bank premium live event in Toronto, Canada. Now, before we get started, I would like to give a very special shout out to Andrew, aka, who sent in a very generous $100 super chat. Much appreciated. Says, sorry, did not get to do after WrestleMania. I haven't been watching wrestling since WrestleMania 3, or have been watching wrestling since WrestleMania 3, and I can truly say wrestling is better now than it ever was. Thank you for all you do, Aaron. Again, I really do appreciate the super chat, and fans have it really good right now. I will say this. Wrestling is arguably the best it's ever been as far as the weekly television goes, and even more so, the premium live events. Between WWE and AEW, you look at these monthly shows, and you're getting some really strong cards. Even if you go back to when wrestling was at its peak of popularity during the Attitude Era, some of those WWE pay-per-views were rough to watch and certainly not worth the $40 or whatever you were paying. People bought them because the characters were hot. Stone Cold Steve Austin was hot. The Rock was hot. And wrestling was exciting to watch during that time. But now I feel like they've really figured out what works and what doesn't work after all these years of experimenting, and they have it down to a science. They really do. Again, thank you, Andrew, for that. Much love to you. Now, let's get started with this recap. Last week, we had the debut of the Wyatt Six. We had Michael Cole with The Miz. No Pat McAfee. This show was in Indianapolis, Pat McAfee territory, but he was not on the show this week. Michael Cole brought up what happened at the end of Raw with the Wyatt Six. But then Drew McIntyre just showed up. No music. He just walked right in to the camera shot, got in the ring. I do like this because it's something different than the typical music plays. He comes out. It's always nice to change it up a little bit. People want to know what I thought about the Uncle Howdy Bo Dallas segment, so stay tuned. Jerry's like, just skip over everything and get to the Bo interview. We will talk about it. Trust me, we will. Chat room, leave your thoughts on Raw as we go through this. So Drew McIntyre cut a promo. Now, he attacked CM Punk on Monday Night Raw, or not Monday Night Raw, SmackDown. We had an angle with two Raw guys on SmackDown. That's why I got confused. On SmackDown, McIntyre attacked Punk, embarrassed Punk. Drew said that he prayed for that to happen. And he is done with everyone that has been chanting CM Punk's name. If you chant his name, you're dead to him. He said he took Punk's dignity in Chicago and also took something that is priceless to Punk. And he showed off this bracelet that had AJ and Larry on it. He brought up how he was entering Money in the Bank. The crowd was chanting for Larry. That's CM Punk's dog. And Drew McIntyre made fun of how the dog looks. Crowd was not liking this. They were chanting for Larry. And McIntyre said he was going to win Money in the Bank, cash in that night. He's vowing to cash in during Money in the Bank in spite of CM Punk's arse. Very strong promo here to open up the show. Drew McIntyre, nice follow-up to the angle on SmackDown. And then we had the video footage of the Wyatt Six and everything that they did on Monday Night Raw, including what we thought was the murder of Chad Gable, but Chad Gable is in fact alive. He had a bandage over his head. He arrived with security. They came right to his locker room and they were guarding his room before his match. We then had our first match of the evening, which was Braun Breaker versus Ludwig Kaiser. It was a very good match, back and forth. Now, unfortunately, Kaiser may have been hurt during this match. It was a very good match, back and forth. Kaiser did get in a lot of offense. Kaiser had to cheat, thumb to the eye when the referee wasn't looking. Breaker then clotheslined Kaiser over the table. And then after the break, Kaiser got dumped over the top rope. They were back on the outside. Breaker charged at Kaiser but missed and hit the steel steps. And then Kaiser charged at Breaker, but then Sheamus came in out of nowhere, took out Kaiser with a knee, disqualification, just like last week with Sheamus and Breaker. Match ends in a DQ. Now, after the match was over, Braun Breaker speared Sheamus to get a little bit of payback. And then backstage, Breaker was yelling at Adam Pearce about the interference. And then Sami Zayn approached Braun Breaker and said, if you want a title match, anytime, any place. And Breaker said, how about Money in the Bank? Zayn told Pearce to make it official because he was accepting the match. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Sami Zayn finally drops the title. We've had 2 Braun Breaker matches now with interference. Maybe Money in the Bank will actually be a clean finish, or at least somewhat clean. And by the way, when Chad Gable was arriving, there was a very interesting background. We had the production truck and Alexa Bliss's face was on it, which, if you remember, before WrestleMania 40, Undertaker and Steve Austin's faces were on the production truck. As it turns out, Austin did not appear. I think it was Austin and Cena. Yeah, it was Austin and John Cena. Cena appeared, Undertaker appeared instead of Austin. But yeah, very interesting. I do not think that was a coincidence that Alexa Bliss's face was there. Now, backstage, Judgment Day were playing video games, not taking things very seriously. Apparently, Liv Morgan got Dominic's phone number, which is suspicious. And Damian Priest wanted things to end with Liv and Dominic, and also wanted Braun Strowman to be handled. And Balor did say that they would take care of Braun Strowman. We had a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Shayna Baszler versus Lyra Valkyria versus Kairi Sane. Kairi had some early momentum coming off the top to the outside with a crossbody, taking out both women. And then after the break, Lyra Valkyria took control, came off the top with a drop kick to Kairi, hit a fisherman suplex, but Kairi kicked out. And then Shayna Baszler got back in the mix, broke up a pinfall attempt with a running knee to Lyra. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." And then Shayna Baszler applied the Kirifuda clutch to Lyra. Kairi then came off the top with an elbow to Shayna. Shayna rolled out of the ring, and then Lyra pinned Kairi with the Night Wing. So Lyra Valkyria officially advances to the Money in the Bank ladder match. Solid match here. And then we had Liv Morgan come into the ring for a promo. She said she was there to just get Dominic's attention. She said that she got him some gifts. She hopes he likes them, and she has even more for him. She has more in store for Dominic. And she brought up how Rhea Ripley never cared about Dominic like her, and she asked him to come to the ring, but instead, Zelina Vega showed up. Zelina came into the ring, and she said Liv's only concerned with having fun, not taking the title seriously. Zelina wanted a title match. Liv said maybe next week. Zelina was not waiting, and that's when Dominic arrived. Dominic was trying to talk. He got booed heavily as usual, and he came into the ring. Dominic made it clear that he's not Liv's man, and the crowd was chanting sloppy seconds. Zelina said she doesn't need Dominic's help. Liv Morgan attacked her because Dominic had said that he would rather have anybody but Liv have the title. And then we had the attack, Liv attacking Zelina. Rey then came out there. Rey Mysterio ran down and pulled Liv Morgan off of Zelina. But then Dominic shoved Rey Mysterio and left the ring. So the plot continues to thicken. Another good segment here, moving these storylines along, keeping you invested, making you wonder where this is going next. Very much like a soap opera, but I'm loving this stuff. Really strong segment. And then backstage, Adam Pearce talked about Chad Gable, said that Chad Gable is shaken up, but medically cleared to wrestle. We had a really good Seth Rollins video package. WWE always does a tremendous job with these video packages. And then we had Liv Morgan backstage calling Dominic her hero for helping out with Rey Mysterio. And she gave him a hug. Dominic was not liking this. He left. And then R-Truth came in and said that Tom and Nick Mysterio is playing hard to get. And Liv was hoping for some help. She wanted JD McDonough and Finn Balor to get a tag team title match against the best tag team in the world. And R-Truth did agree to the match. She walked away, and he said he always liked Carmella. R-Truth got suckered in, and Miz, who was on commentary, freaked out. And he left the broadcast booth, and it was pretty much just Michael Cole by himself for the rest of the show. We had another Money in the Bank qualifying match. We had Chad Gable versus Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman. So a lot of meat in this match. Gable cut a promo beforehand, said that rumors of his demise were greatly exaggerated. He said he cannot be killed, and two monsters couldn't get it done. And at Money in the Bank, two more monsters he will get past, and then he will become Master in the Bank at Money in the Bank. And as he was coming into the ring, we got the Wyatt glitches on the Titantron screens. Chad Gable not out of the woods just yet. Anyways, he tried chopping both guys. That did nothing. And then Reed and Strowman went at it for a while. Gable tried to slam Reed. Reed just sent Gable over the top rope onto Braun Strowman. And then Reed hit them both with a suicide dive. After the break, Strowman took control. He tossed Gable into Reed. And then he did the Strowman Express. And then back in the ring, Strowman kept his momentum going. He power slammed Reed on the floor. And then Judgment Day showed up, attacking Strowman. It was 4-on-1. And then back in the ring, Gable hit Reed with the moonsault, got the 1-2-3 victory. Chad Gable wins. Chad Gable going to Money in the Bank. And then after the match, we had the lights going out. Abby the Witch, Nikki Cross, got into the ring. Gable escaped with his life. And then she went over to ringside and gave this box to Michael Cole. And inside was a VHS tape. What was on this tape? Well, VHS tapes haven't been relevant in decades, so they actually had to go and get a VHS player. More on that in just a few moments. So backstage, Chad Gable, he's freaked out. He went to the Alpha Academy. He said his life flashed before his eyes last week, and he saw the Alpha Academy as family. He said he was truly sorry for what he did because families fight. However, families stick together. Otis was not buying this. He said that anybody that hurts Tozawa and Maxine are not family, and he was standing by what he said last week. They are done. He went back into his locker room, but Maxine said that Otis needs time. She'll try to talk to him. She went back in the locker room, and then the plot thickens with this storyline too. The Creed brothers and Ivy Nile checked in on Chad Gable, and Chad Gable just said he needs help. We'll see where this goes. I think we all have a pretty good idea, but they're doing a slow build-up for it. That continues. And then we had Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn, the women's tag team champions, going up against Katana Chance and Kayden Carter. A pretty standard tag team match here. Kayden Carter and Katana did get in some offense. They did their double team move, the keg stand. Alba Fyre broke up the pin. And then the champs did this gory bomb Russian leg sweep combo. Won the match. Pretty basic. And then afterwards, Damage Control attacked them. Io Sky hit the over the moonsault, and Damage Control stood tall over the tag team champions. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Says, is Chad Gable still supposed to be a heel against the Wyatt Six? Yeah, I think that he is a heel against them. I mean, to me, the Wyatts are still baby faces at this point, even though they're doing all these creepy things, and more on the Wyatts in just a few moments here. But yeah, I mean, Chad is definitely still a heel at this point. Shout out to Hamp Connell, who sent in a $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. Much appreciated. Says, today in history, 2001, Kurt Angle competes at King of the Ring against Shane McMahon in a street fight, which included one of the most insane moments of all time, a suplex through the entryway glass. That is one of the most violent matches I've ever seen, especially on a WWE show. Like, it's got to be top 5 most violent WWE matches. All those spots where they were throwing each other, well, basically Angle was throwing Shane into the glass, and at first it wasn't breaking. Like, the bump where Shane did not break the glass looked actually scarier than the one where he was just thrown through the glass, because he looked like he was landing on the back of his head. Like, that match was absolutely brutal. If you've never seen it, I mean, it's hard to watch, but thankfully both guys got out of it without being too injured. All right, let's move on here. We had Liv Morgan leaving the Judgment Day's locker room. She had been talking to Finn Balor, and Damian Priest was not too amused with this, but Balor told him, hey, we got a tag team title match. And then R-Truth spoke to The Miz and said that he gave Judgment Day the tag team match for love. He did it for Liv and Dom. Of course, Miz not happy, and Truth said he loves Miz, but only as a friend. World champion Damian Priest then came to the ring for a promo. He talked about his Money in the Bank opponent, Seth Rollins, how Rollins is a man he doesn't want to become. Priest said Seth will never see the mountaintop again. And then Seth Rollins, of course, came down and said Priest's actions and words don't line up. Priest talks about being the top guy, but then can only win matches with Judgment Day's help. So Rollins had an idea to sweeten the pot, a side bet. If Damian Priest wins at Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins will never challenge for the world title again as long as Priest is champion. And if Seth wins, Priest has to leave Judgment Day. Priest said that Judgment Day needs him more than he needs Judgment Day. And of course, he accepted. They shook hands. And then Gunther, the number one contender for SummerSlam, arrived. Gunther wished them both luck and said that at SummerSlam, however, the better man at Money in the Bank is going to be the lesser man when they step in the ring with him. Good segment here. Built up Money in the Bank. Built up SummerSlam. You add a little bit of intrigue to the match at Money in the Bank for the title. Will Priest walk away from Judgment Day? Will Rollins not get another title match anytime soon? I mean, really, that doesn't matter that much because Gunther's going to win at SummerSlam. So at most, Rollins would go like a month without being able to challenge for the title. So I feel like Rollins is getting the better deal here. But of course, Priest is a heel and might not necessarily honor the stipulation. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, but did R-Truth do it for The Rock or the people? Well, R-Truth is always doing things for people, whether it's Tom and Nick Mysterio or The Rock or Rikishi. R-Truth doing things for Carmella. You never know. On any given day, R-Truth can be doing it for anybody. Maybe he's doing it for everybody. You never know with that guy. We had the VHS tape shown from the Wyatt 6, and it was Uncle Howdy interviewing Bo Dallas. So the little split personalities here. Now, Uncle Howdy got very personal, asking Bo Dallas about Bray Wyatt, asking the question, how did it feel when your brother died? Bo Dallas responded by saying that the most important thing in his life was taken away from him. He's nobody. And Uncle Howdy asked about the legacy. Bo Dallas said he wanted to be like his brother. They were going to rule the world together, but it got taken away from him. And then people just forgot about him. But he made them remember. And Uncle Howdy responded by saying, yes, you did. This was a great segment. A lot of people really enjoyed this one too. I saw some of the social media comments. I feel like this one was a home run. It definitely was well produced, and it was deep, man. They took real life, put it into the storyline, and a lot of times that's what makes the best wrestling segments, when they can blend fiction and reality and put it all together. It was a powerful segment for sure. Very creative, very well done, and it was a strong follow-up to last week. But of course, we still got to see what happens when they actually get in the ring and wrestle. Vince Russo actually liked the segment. He was even praising it on Twitter, and he's notorious for being critical of WWE segments, but he did give the Bo Dallas segment some praise. And yeah, this, I mean, definitely makes you think that Bo Dallas is a babyface. The fact that, he's talking about his brother, and, you definitely are feeling sympathetic towards the guy. We'll see where it goes, and so far, so good. We had Kofi Kingston, the former WWE champion, versus Karrion Kross. Basic match. Kofi was taking the fight to Kross, but then Kross took control. And then after the break, Cody made his comeback, hit the boom drop, and then was perhaps on the verge of hitting the tip, the Trouble in Paradise. But then we saw in the backstage area, Authors of Pain and Paul Ellering, they had gotten to Xavier Woods. They beat up Woods. And then Kross picked up the victory with the final prayer. I still don't really care about Kross. Again, I'm not going to be invested in this storyline unless New Day actually breaks up, and I do not see that happening. We had a recap from SmackDown of the Bloodline with Jacob Fatu. And if you guys want more thoughts on that, check out the No DQ review, which is officially on demand on the No DQ YouTube channel. We had our main event. Oh, and by the way, they did announce a 6-man tag team match, Bloodline versus Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens. Maybe this is where Solo pins Cody to become number 1 contender. We'll see what they do at Money in the Bank. And then we had our main event, Awesome Truth versus JD McDonough and Finn Balor. Awesome Truth was doing pretty well, but then guess who showed up? The women's champion, Liv Morgan. And then after the break, Miz got a hot tag, and then all hell started to break loose. Dominic and Carlito showed up, and then you had Miz somehow managing to not get too distracted. He did hit the skull-crushing finale to JD, but then Carlito put JD's foot on the rope. JD hit Miz with a headbutt, and then Braun Strowman ran down, chased Carlito away. R-Truth and Finn Balor tagged in. R-Truth started doing the John Cena moves. He even busted out a double knuckle shuffle or a 10 knuckle shuffle, whatever you want to call it, to both JD and Balor. And then Liv Morgan got on the apron. She stood up there. She hugged R-Truth, but then she double-crossed him, attacked him when the referee was distracted, and then Finn Balor finished off Truth with the coup de grace, picked up the 1-2-3 victory. New tag team champions, Judgment Day, Finn Balor and JD McDonough. Liv Morgan celebrated with them after the match, and you had Michael Cole on commentary questioning if maybe Liv Morgan was the Judgment Day's Yoko Ono, which, of course, that is a brownie point from me when you make a Beatles reference and Yoko Ono. So, yeah, great ending to the show. I do think that it needed to be done, getting the titles off Awesome Truth. I mean, it was just something to be a feel-good moment at WrestleMania. And maybe, if anything, it was a longer title reign than it needed to be. But all in all, really good Raw again. Not at the level of last week, but I still think it was a very entertaining show. Strong segments to build up Money in the Bank. Wyatt 6, Judgment Day. WWE's doing great content right now. I give the show a B+. Very strong Monday Night Raw. Looking forward to Money in the Bank. Even though it's not one of your top tier shows, it still feels like a pretty big deal. Definitely feels more important than the last couple of WWE pay-per-views. Money in the Bank shaping up nicely. And a lot of storylines getting close to their peaks here. You know, this Judgment Day storyline, Liv and Dominic. Pretty soon we should be seeing some fireworks with that. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching. And we got Dynamite coming up on Wednesday. And then Friday, we got SmackDown at Madison Square Garden. That should be an interesting one. Stay tuned for all that. Thank you again to everybody. And I very much appreciate your viewership and support as always. And again, thank you, Andrew, for the very generous super chat. And thank you to everyone else that super chatted. I'll see you guys Wednesday night for Dynamite. Take it easy, everyone. Have a great week. And remember, say yes to no DQ. And I will see you all next time.